central banks will start including Bitcoin in their reserves.
Mm,
And actually, it will become some competition for the world's reserve currency from that point of view, but it will also discipline us, I
mm,
think, as well. So I don't think the dollar disappears. I think maybe Bitcoin and the dollar and maybe another currency start to dominate. We'll see. That's sort of been the history.
mm,
Uh, and as far as CBDCs, it's very interesting. In the United States, I definitely don't think that's going to happen because this is a states' rights issue. And
mm.
I know in the state of Florida, where we are, we moved Ark here 2 years ago. In the state of Florida, Governor Ron DeSantis has said a CBDC would not be welcome. All that would mean is government surveillance, invasion of personal privacy, like in China. And so, if it's not going to work in Florida, it's probably not going to work. You won't get all 50 states. That would be a big problem, right? And I don't think it would work I think the politics would basically prevent its becoming ubiquitous in the United States.
Ark Invest Cathie Wood just called Bitcoin one of the most important investments of our lifetime. So far, Cathie Wood has invested over $500 million into Bitcoin or Bitcoin related assets, showcasing her strong conviction in the cryptocurrency's potential. But not only that, Cathie also sees Bitcoin as a strong contender over time for the world's global reserve currency. In her latest interview, Cathie breaks down why she believes Bitcoin is amongst the most important investments anyone could make. In her eyes, we are moving into a new era of exponential transformation driven by AI, blockchain, and other innovation. Make sure to stick around to the end of the video where Cathie breaks down why major banks are scared of Bitcoin and why its adoption is inevitable. Also guys, only a small percentage of my viewers are actually subscribed. If you enjoy staying up to date with finance content, consider subscribing or liking the video. It's free and you can always change your mind. Now here's Cathie Wood foreseeing $1 million future for Bitcoin.
Well, one thing I'll start out by saying is we've been researching Bitcoin since 2014. Actually, before that, I started in 2011 at another firm. But since we founded ARK, 2014, we wrote our first blog in 2014. We
Wow.
did so. ARK knows Bitcoin. We did our first white paper with Art Laffer in 2015. We were the first public asset manager to gain exposure to Bitcoin when it was only $250 in September of 2015.
Wow.
We did the white paper called Bitcoin, ringing the bell for a new asset class in collaboration with Coinbase. So I don't think anyone beats us when it comes to research, knowledge, and understanding of Bitcoin. That's very comforting for advisors and individuals. There are two other things that we think are very important and will be especially so for the wirehouses, the Morgan Stanleys, the Bank of America, Merrill Lynch's, the UBS's, the Wells Fargo. And that is, we have partnered with 21 Shares, which over the last 5 years has evolved the infrastructure and operations through booms and busts, through forks and airdrops and halvings. And they have battle tested this infrastructure. I don't think anyone else can say that. And then the third variable is, and again, especially for advisors at these wirehouses, they do not have, a deep understanding of Bitcoin, understandably. We are going to be there to support them. We have a sales team that had to start talking about Bitcoin. And I remember a few of them telling us recently, we didn't even know what Bitcoin was when we were interviewing for the job. And then guess what? They got the job, so they had to learn what Bitcoin was develop conviction and hold hands through volatility. And then, of course, the last is we're treating this, and we do believe that Bitcoin is a public good. It is the financial superhighway of the internet, and we have priced it accordingly. We want to make sure that everyone has access because we think it is a very big idea. One of the things we're saying is we have not seen this many general purpose technology platforms, innovation platforms, evolve since that period of time. And you're right, the three major ones back then, telephone, electricity, internal combustion engine / automobiles. Those were three platforms. Today we have 5, and 14 different technologies are involved in them. So there are subsets of technologies. And so what we believe we're moving into is a period of super exponential growth. So if you look at the period from the early 1900s to today, the average growth rate of the global economy, real GDP, including China, has been 3% on average. Now, if you go back and you look at past periods of technological breakthroughs, the steam engine and so forth, each time growth rates in the global economy jumped. I think we got from 0.6% to 3%. That was the jump to get us to that 3% for the last 100 and some odd years. If we're right, these 5 platforms will create a boom in productivity, a magnificent wealth generation opportunities, and could take GDP growth up to 6, 7, 8%. Nobody believes that now. They think we're crazy when we say it, but we are putting the building blocks together, of these platforms now that they are moving into prime time, each one having their own S-curve. So AI and Bitcoin, we did a Bitcoin brainstorm. It was our second Bitcoin brainstorm with, I don't know if you know Rod at Bitcoin Park in Nashville, Tennessee. And it was the convergence of Bitcoin and artificial intelligence. Because of convergences like that, we think that these S-curves are feeding each other and will get us to those growth rates. Watch out. Jamie Dimon is as, vociferous in his opposition to Bitcoin as anybody out there. Well, guess what? It's because these are the financial rails that are going to derail you in many ways. Jamie and JP Morgan is highly regulated, and being on good terms with the SEC is very important. So I think there's an element there because remember, Chairman Gensler sure approved these ETFs, but was very quick to say, we are not recommending that you buy Bitcoin or even invest in these vehicles. We've approved them just because the courts have challenged us, and we have to take a point of view, and we can't be the reason, according to the courts, that this movement is derailed, which is a great thing. Checks and balances in the American system. So legislative branch, which is basically the SEC, executive branch, judicial, and legislative. So excited there. So I think Vanguard. And you mentioned someone else. Who was that?
Merrill Lynch.
Oh, yes. I think Merrill is beginning to understand that Vanguard has made a mistake, because Merrill has actually said, no, we aren't banning it. We're evaluating it. And Merrill's very conservative. And Merrill was the last platform to approve our strategies, our ETF strategies. But once they do approve, they're a powerhouse. So they're very careful. So I think this is a massive mistake, strategic mistake, and I do believe the next leadership, the new leadership of Vanguard, whenever that is, will change its policy, because what they're doing is preventing their investors from accessing a new asset class. Their role is to facilitate the access of all financial asset classes. So I think many people are leaving Vanguard. I think Fidelity is the biggest beneficiary there, and Fidelity, I think, as I understand it, is actively courting them because and I don't think Merrill wants to fall into the same category. I think when people put something in their portfolio, they're apt to watch it a little more closely and maybe seek out a little bit more education, even if their advisors have put them in. And certainly the advisors have to educate themselves. So I think once more and more people educate themselves and understand what this is, it's a technology, yes, and it's a monetary system, then I think they're going to understand why it's taking off in emerging markets and why everyone should have a little bit of an insurance policy called Bitcoin. And last year, the regional bank crisis was a great case in point. I think many people were shocked as regional banks, the KRE, the regional bank index, was imploding. Bitcoin took off. It went up 40 to 50%. And it was the first time that traditional investors, many more, took note. Wait a minute, why did it do that? This is supposed to be a risk-on asset. It's supposed to be very volatile and highly correlated with risky assets. What just happened? And what they learned there was that, hey, it's a risk-off asset too. Why? Because there's no counterparty risk like there is in our banking system. You're not going to be held hostage like you were in 0809, wondering if your bank was going to survive or you'd get any more than 250,000, the guarantee, the FDIC guarantee, out of your bank. So this doesn't happen with Bitcoin. Education. Wow. How many risk-off and risk-on assets are there? So I think the more people come in, the more they'll be comparing and contrasting what this is to what we have in the traditional financial world. And guess what? This is better. This is better. And it is why emerging markets talk about needing an insurance policy in hyperinflating economies. It's an insurance policy against counterparty risk, inflation, and deflation. It's amazing.
So there's Cathie Wood with her take on Bitcoin and the future of finance. She sees Bitcoin not only as a competition for the world's reserve currency, but also as a force that will disrupt traditional financial systems. While dismissing the idea of the dollar disappearing, Cathie imagines a future where Bitcoin, the dollar, and potentially another currency dominate the global economic scene. With her experience as an investor and advocate for disruptive technologies, Cathie Wood provides valuable insights into the transformative power of Bitcoin and the broader technological landscape, encouraging investors and individuals to embrace the opportunities arising from this ongoing revolution. Before we go, a quick reminder for those who are keen on staying updated in the fast-paced world of crypto and Bitcoin. Consider subscribing to my daily 5-minute crypto newsletter. It's a concise resource for the latest expert predictions, breaking news, and top on-chain analysis, trusted by over 40,000 subscribers for insightful crypto investment information. Click the first link in the description to join our community and elevate your crypto investment knowledge today. Anyway guys, hope you all enjoyed today's video and that provided you with some value. I'll see you all in the next one, and as always, all the best.